What's up, Model FAs? David DeCelle here, CEO of Model FA and your host of the Model FA podcast. And we are joined here today by someone that you most likely have already heard of, Taylor Schulte. And as you know, he's a CFP. He is the founder of Defined Financial, which is a fee-only retirement planning firm headquartered in beautiful San Diego, California, with over 300 million in assets under management. And he's also the co-founder of the AGC, which is a private online community with over 180 advisor members, co-host of Kitsis Summits, and also the host of the Stay Wealthy Retirement Show, which is an Apple Top 100 business podcast. With that said, Taylor, long time coming. Welcome to the show.
David, thanks for having me. Thanks for the kind introduction.
Well, let's dive right in. So, I've come to know you, frankly, through your content, and you've become, at least in my eyes, but I think in other people's eyes as well, well known in the industry as someone that holds a good amount of influence. And we'll talk about content a little bit later on, but you didn't step foot in the industry to start and automatically have influence. You had to sort of prove yourself first. So I'm curious, how'd you get into the industry, and kind of walk us through a journey from then until now?
Yeah, I'll give you the cliff notes. You let me know if you want to dive in deeper. Like a lot of the young folks I talked to today, I stumbled my way into this industry. I didn't really know what a financial advisor was. I knew in college that I wanted to work in finance. I also had a love for marketing as well. I just didn't know what to do with those things. So I had a job offer from Fisher Investments, American Funds, and Morgan Stanley coming out of school. Morgan Stanley was in my hometown in San Diego. Felt good to go back home and start my career again. Really had no idea what I was getting myself into. Back in then at that point, this was 2007, it was still the days where they gave you a cubicle, they gave you a desk and a phone, and you had a sales quota to meet. I guess before all of that, you got paid to sit for your Series 7 and study for your Series 66 and, get all your licenses. And then after that, you had a sales quota to meet, or you were fired. And so I was just like pretty naive at the time, again, young 22, 23-year-old. And I didn't really question anything. I just kind of put my head down and worked really hard, and I had some really great mentors and support around me there at that firm. I was there for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And like a lot of people, just started to grow frustrated as a young advisor who wants to get creative and grow their business and is a bit, tied by compliance. And so I had this opportunity. It was kind of to me, kind of a now or never. Like, I'm not married yet. I don't have kids yet. Kind of now's the time to make the leap. So I left Morgan Stanley, I think in 2012-ish. I went to a smaller independent broker-dealer hybrid firm. I was there for a couple of years and ultimately said, I just want to do this my way. So I started my firm in 2014, and it really gave me the opportunity to focus on working with the people that I wanted to work with and also kind of fuel the creative side that was inside of me that I didn't really know what to do with. Again, I was just pretty tied and strapped by compliance. And now I had all the freedom in the world to grow my practice the way I wanted to grow it. Now, of course, with that freedom comes paralysis as well. It's like, well, I can do anything. I can start a podcast. I can start a YouTube channel. I can blog. I can do all these things. And so it can also be a distraction. And so I certainly went through that phase of just kind of getting distracted by all these shiny objects and new tools. And so, I stumbled a little bit there out of the gates. And yeah, ultimately kind of found my footing, went through a pretty wild journey and found some good team members to join me eventually. And now I think we're a team of six, like you had said, managing over $300 million. And growing fairly rapidly, but still intentionally with the right types of clients. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been, a wild journey, and I've enjoyed every step of the way.
Love it. Totally unrelated, but and I want to hit on some of that stuff, but I I also have a fiddle tree and a snake plant in my
Nice.
house, so I appreciate your background with those.
Absolutely. Well, to be clear, one is fake and one is real. So I did a little combo
So
there.
let me ask which one is fake?
The fiddle leaf is fake.
Oh, okay. It's
No,
gonna
they're pretty finicky. They need a certain amount of water and light, and they're hard to keep alive. So I've learned my lesson there. So that guy is fake. The snake plant is real.
well
Also,
the
I do not have a green thumb, so I literally have to pay somebody to come here. I think every 2 weeks to come take care of the plant.
That's funny. Well, I would have guessed that the snake plant was fake because that thing is
Mm,
roaring over there. I can't get mine to. It's healthy, but it's just not as big as that. Maybe it's just time. But anywho, um, so similar-ish to you with your background at Morgan Stanley. So I cut my teeth for the first 7 years of my career at Northwestern. I had similar compliance frustrations. Amongst a host of other things, which I'm sure you can say the same thing about Morgan Stanley. But what I will never take away from Northwestern, I'm curious to get your perspective on this, is a lot of the folks who start off in the RIA space are wonderful advisors, but you do not have an opportunity to be an advisor unless you can sell the prospect to become a client. Like there's a big sales component. Now there's different ways to go about sales, most certainly. But what I'll never take away from Northwestern is what I learned from a sales and relational standpoint and the grit and perseverance that I got from that opportunity. I did a lot of volume of calls and meetings, which
yeah,
sped up my learning curve. So regardless of any frustrations that I had over there, I am where I am today because of them.
for
And I'm
sure.
curious to know if you have a similar feeling with your Morgan Stanley experience.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. I mean, it was phenomenal. I really I think it was a great place for me to start. And I tell young advisors that I speak to all the time, like, they get obsessed with finding the perfect, fee only fiduciary firm that has their exact investment philosophy that they believe in. And I'm like, dude, just like go get a job somewhere and get your feet wet and learn and figure out what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and then double down on that in your next stage of your career. Because, like you had said, there's phenomenal sales experience and training that you get at those larger firms, and sales and business development is certainly required to grow a firm. Thankfully, today there are some great firms out there that don't require any sales at all. Like you can go and be a phenomenal financial planner without needing to sell anything, and you can build a great career doing that. Um, and so you might learn going to one of those larger, maybe sales focused firms that you're not good at sales and you don't enjoy sales, but you really do love financial planning. And again, thankfully, there's those opportunities today that I didn't really experience, 20 years ago when I was getting into the industry. So it's nice to see the industry evolve. And I just think that any firm is a great opportunity to learn more about yourself and what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. And for me, like I did enjoy sales. I do enjoy sales. I do enjoy marketing and building relationships. And so today, I'm the only person in our firm that does that. Everybody else, nobody else in this office does. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have one junior guy who's just now starting to complement some of my marketing efforts. But up until now, there's been no requirement to do any sales or business development.
Mhm. So you had made reference to once you came into the wild, wild west, so to speak, and within reason, you can do whatever you want from a marketing standpoint and technology standpoint and things like that. Um, How did you work through? Because there's advisors that are listening to this that are currently feeling that. Um, how did you work through what was just noise and what you should focus on? Let's talk from a marketing standpoint. Like,
Yeah.
how'd you get focused?
Well, I guess I'll just say that I fell on my face for a period of time. Like it was fun. I was experimenting with different things, buying shiny objects, trying things. Like I enjoyed that part of it. I never had that opportunity. So, eventually I'm like, I can't keep messing around here. I need to ensure that I'm getting a return on my time or dollars spent. So I fell on my face for a period of time. And then things started to get real. I got married and my wife left her job and we started to have kids. It's like, okay, I got to buckle down, like really figure this out. And so, really putting my marketing hat on. And I've talked a lot about this. I feel like I'm constantly repeating myself, but I started to think about marketing in terms of a really simple marketing funnel, to have just like one single top of funnel marketing activity, one single middle of the funnel marketing activity, and a great sales process, i.e., the bottom of my funnel. And so getting really focused on having one single activity in each layer of the funnel. And in order for that to work, I had to really get clear about who my ideal client was. So really, I guess before I could make any of these changes and improvements, I had to kind of go backwards a little bit. So I went through a process after identifying who it is that I really want to target and who I really want to work with. I went through a process of transitioning clients out of the firm who were no longer a fit. I found them a good home. I didn't just throw them onto the street. Transitioned those clients out of the firm to an advisor who had the right expertise to help them, and then doubled down on that, you know, higher net worth retiree market, over age 50, retired or about to retire, tax problems in retirement, and started to build the funnel around those people. And so it wasn't really until I got clear on who my target market was, I was really honest about it. I didn't just say it. I actually transitioned clients out of the firm who were no longer a fit, and drew a hard line in the sand. Like, this is the only type of person we work with. And so from there, yeah, started to kind of build out that single marketing funnel, which in the beginning, again, this is like after all the messy experimenting. In the beginning, it was the retirement podcast. So the Stay Wealthy Retirement Show is largely my, still to this day, middle of the funnel marketing activity. So, in the beginning, just hyper focused on building a high quality, or delivering high quality content through the retirement podcast. And once I kind of found my voice through podcasting, and felt like, had some momentum, I started to focus on that top of funnel. Okay, I've got a great retirement podcast. I'm adding a ton of value. How can I get more of the right people to listen to this podcast? So started to focus on that top of funnel marketing activity to get more people to the middle of the funnel marketing activity. And even once that happened and I saw downloads start to go up and up and up, and things are going in the right direction, my phones are still not ringing. I'm like, why is this not working? Why is this great podcast? It's attracting new listeners. Why is it not converting into actual clients? And what I learned was, you have to actually ask people. You can't just expect people to assume they know that, one, you're a financial advisor, and two, that you have capacity to take on new clients. After listening to or hearing from some of my audience, from some of my listeners, some didn't know I was a financial advisor. They thought I was a financial influencer type person, or financial coach or something. So they didn't know I was a licensed financial advisor. And two, there's this assumption that if you have this great podcast, then you must be so busy and your firm must be so big that you don't have the capacity for new clients. So it wasn't until I went to my audience and I said, I'm a financial advisor. Here's exactly who we specialize in working with. We have the capacity to take on 20 new clients this year. If you're interested in exploring a relationship with us, go here. And like drawing it in crayon, very clear call to action, then the phones started to blow up. And that's really when we started to experience most of our growth, let's say in the last, 5 to 6 years.
Um, so I'm sparking for two reasons. One, when you were sort of lost in paralysis by analysis, and then um, got some clarity. So if you're listening to this and you're in that space right now where you haven't gotten clarity, and you happen to be single, get married and have a kid, and you're forced to focus. Um,
Right. Yeah.
but
Some good
the other
motivation.
the other reason why uh, the other reason why I'm smirking is, by the time this is released, my business partner Dan and I's book will be released. It's
Oh,
called The
awesome.
Organic Growth Revolution, and it's for financial advisors. And you just went through, I think it's chapter 4, 5, and 6, like perfectly with how we positioned it, which is, just to summarize some of the things that you said, specializing or niching down. You actually have to commit to that to the extent where you get rid of clients who don't fit that.
Right.
And that sounds harsher, but so I like that you handed them off to someone else. And when you do that, you don't necessarily limit the pool of people, but you become a magnet to the people that you're calling out, that you work with. Uh, having some content middle of the funnel, longer form content, be a podcast, video series, whatever, is great. But then we also talk about how you need to serve as their guide and tell them the exact steps that you want to do. We also talk about how, because of the perceived busyness,
Yeah.
making them aware not just that you have capacity, but you have capacity to bring on X amount of like, Taylor, I'll get you a copy of the book when it's live, and you're gonna be like, no way, you literally just said everything
Oh,
that's
that's
in
great.
those few chapters. So, uh, selfishly, I'm glad we're aligned.
Yeah.
But anywho, I think you summarized that um, perfectly. I'm curious. So one of the things I wanted to unpack with you today is, from my understanding, when we spoke last, you were primarily on the audio platforms. You built up a decent following. I'm curious to know if you have it ballpark, anyways, in your mind, like what that following got up to in terms of downloads or followers or whatever. Um, but then you made a pivot to essentially start from scratch all over again. Can you walk us through some of that stuff?
Yeah, I think I'll preface by saying, like, anytime I felt kind of stuck in my journey, whether it's like stuck with, business growth or, marketing, I've realized that you kind of have to go backwards a little bit before you can go forward again. I like to play a lot of golf in my free time, and I think about it like golf. Like, anytime I want to get better at golf, I, go back to my instructor. Like, I have to be okay with going backwards a little bit. I'm going to change my grip, change my swing. Like, it's going to feel weird and awkward. I'm not going to play as well, and I kind of got to work through that in order to get to that next level of my golf game. And I think about marketing and just business growth the same way. That anytime I kind of hit that wall or that ceiling, I feel stuck. I have to acknowledge I'm probably going to go backwards a little bit, or I'm not going to grow as much as I'd like to for a period of time. And so, um, I went through that in the beginning with getting really focused and having to transition clients out. It means like revenue is leaving, right? Like the firm is going backwards, revenue is leaving. But again, it shows my commitment to owning that niche, and I needed that commitment. So went backwards and, got to the next level. And then, we got to about $2 million in revenue, and I've got more team members now. And that kind of famous line, I don't know who to attribute it to, but like, what got you here is not going to get you there. So it's one thing that this podcast took us from $500,000 in revenue to $2 million in revenue. But in order to go from 2 million to 10 million, we're going to need, a more robust marketing funnel, or I should say maybe more than one marketing funnel. And so in order to achieve this next leg of growth, we internally decided that we would start to add video to our marketing, and I say, like, I had to go backwards a little bit because I spent the last year, 2 years, essentially kind of like hitting the pause button with growth and kind of restructuring things internally, ensuring that we have the right systems and processes in place, ensuring we have the right team members in place in order to scale from 2 to 10 million in revenue. We couldn't just keep operating as the same 3 or 4 person team and just sitting behind a microphone and hope things that work out. And so we didn't stop growing, but we certainly paused a lot of the growth over the last couple of years. Okay with that, just again going backwards a little bit. Invested a lot of time and money in long form. Well, we did experiment with some short form video, but ultimately in long form video to reach a larger audience through YouTube, and kind of add that to our marketing process, our marketing plan. So have not ditched audio only podcasting at all. Just kind of stitching on an additional marketing activity, or I would say an additional marketing funnel, because the YouTube marketing funnel is very different than an audio only podcast funnel. And so that's why I'm very quick to tell advisors, like, be careful adding other marketing activities, because it's not just like I'm adding video, I'm actually adding an entirely separate marketing funnel. And that funnel needs a lot of attention from top to bottom. And so we're very intentional about that. And it's been a fun journey with video. It's also been extremely challenging and very, very, very different from other forms of content that I've been producing for a long time now. So that's where we're at today. Happy to share kind of, what the status is and things we've learned. I'm not sure what direction you want to go with it.
So what is the YouTube channel under your name or the firm name?
The YouTube channel is under my name, or that the handle is actually tied to the podcast. So I think the YouTube handle is You Stay Wealthy,
So
or Stay Wealthy. I forget which handle we had to choose. So
Here. Um, you stay wealthy. Okay, so I'm just pulling this up here. So, first of all, whoever you have helping you with your videos, like I hate when I hop on a YouTube channel and it's like super messy and scattered, where you have like the proper tile images, like it looks professional. It looks like a show. It doesn't look like an aggregation of random
sure.
content. So kudos to whoever you're using. I also see here that you quote only have 72 videos so far, yet you have 5.7 thousand subscribers on your channel, which is phenomenal. Like we have a client that they're at like 7,400, but they have like 300 videos. And I would imagine that a lot of it comes from um, mentioning your YouTube on your podcast and getting some folks, over the fence. Um,
Really quick, keep in mind there,
Please.
out of those 74, I think like 50 of them are short form videos. So I wouldn't
Oh,
include those. So there's probably only about
yeah.
like 15 or 20 actual long form videos. Just
Yeah, I
shows
got
the
23.
power and
Yep.
which shows the power
Yep.
and reach even as a I mean, I started from scratch, nothing. And to be extra clear here, I was under strict order not to pull any of my existing audience into YouTube. Don't tell your email list, don't tell your clients, don't tell your podcast audience. We want this to be truly organic. We want YouTube to find my audience. We want the algorithm to find the
Okay.
audience. So, probably I'd say 95% of our clients don't even know this channel exists. And that's very intentional. A few of them have stumbled across it organically, which is fine. So I want
That
to be
takes
extra
some
clear there. So,
guts to do that because you have a captive audience over here to not try to drive them over initially. That takes some guts.
well, but it's very strategic. So like I wouldn't have known this if I didn't hire really good people. People who listen to podcasts love to listen to podcasts. They may or may not want to watch long form YouTube videos. I'm one of those people. I listen to audio only podcasts. I'm not a big YouTube watcher.
Mhm.
And so if I go to my existing podcast audience, I say, hey, I started a YouTube channel, go check it out. Sure, a bunch of them might jump over to check it out because they like me and support me and trust me. But they get there and they're like, oh, this is cool, but it's not my jam. I'm going to go back to podcast world. Well, now that indicates to YouTube that like all these people showed up, they checked my videos out and they didn't like them because they immediately left. Same thing with my
Good
email
call.
list. So I could pull thousands of people over, tens of thousands of people over, but it's going to immediately indicate to the algorithm like these people didn't like the video, so therefore we're going to, penalize them. Where instead I'm letting YouTube's algorithm accurately find my audience for me and build it organically. So the people that are finding it are actually people that want to see these videos. So it's frustrating in the beginning, starting from zero. But as you can see, you get a couple wins here, some big videos that blow up, and all of a sudden you're at, almost 6,000 subscribers. Um, so, I would argue I should be beyond 6,000 subscribers. There's been some learning curves along the way, some bottlenecks for sure, but yeah, I'm very happy with the short-term results.
Well, I also love your first long form video 8 months ago that certainly kept you going because you
Yeah,
got 17,000 views on that one, which is wonderful. And this is an important thing for me to mention. Like I'm looking here, 17,000 views. Whoa, struck gold vanity metrics, right?
right.
But struck gold. 1,300 views. Still awesome, but in the context of 17,000, you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? A couple of videos after that, 358 views. The
Mm,
video right after that, 234,000 views. So I highlight that. I'm seeing 190 views, 164,000 views. To temper expectations for folks that like it's more about the consistency and the quality than it is per video view metrics. You can still learn things from the videos that maybe don't get a ton of views, but I'm really glad to see that you have videos up here, but
Yeah,
you have videos down here as well. Because when people look at YouTube influencers that have millions and millions and millions of subscribers and most of their videos take off, they can get discouraged. But it's like, no, you have a video here with 190 views, but that's right next to a video that has 164,000. But you
yeah.
don't let that 190 discourage you. You do the next one. You do the next one. You do the next one.
Yeah,
So,
it beats
I'll-
you down for sure. You spend a lot of time, put a lot of energy into these scripts and these videos, and then you get 100 views. It really beats you up. And when you have 4 or 5 videos like that in a row, I mean, you absolutely want to throw your hands up and just give up. And so You're right that like consistency is really important. And that's why like, people, advisors, will start a podcast and then quit after 9 episodes, or start a YouTube
Mhm.
channel and, stumble out of the gates and then never publish another video. So, um, I went into this saying, I'm going to invest a bunch of money. I'm going to hire the right people. I'm going to just do whatever they tell me to do. I'm not expecting new clients as a result. Not yet. I'm going to spend just like the first 12 months, just like head down, doing what they tell me to do. And once we have this foundation built, then I'll stitch together the rest of the funnel. Again, I thought about the podcast the same way. When I started the podcast, just create high quality content that speaks to the pain points of my ideal client. Just do that to start, right? Prove that you can do that. Once I've proven that, now I can pour gas on that through top of funnel marketing activities. Maybe the other quick thing I'll just add here while we're at it, talking about like views. Um, with YouTube, it's great because I could have no subscribers and get my first video has 17,000 views. That's awesome. 0 subscribers, 17,000 views of my first video. You can't do that in the podcast world, right? You're starting from scratch. You have to earn those subscribers one at a time. But once I have that audience base, if I publish an episode tomorrow, like my entire subscriber base is going to listen to that episode. Where if I publish a YouTube video tomorrow, it might only get 100 views, right? And so I'm not guaranteed the views on YouTube like I am with the podcast, right? So with podcasting, the hard part is building the audience, which takes a long time. With YouTube, I don't have to build the audience, but I do have to spend a lot of time creating content because you never know which video is going to hit.
Yeah, you have such a good mindset. In coming across, a ton of advisors, not most people don't have that mindset where they're looking for, okay, this didn't work, and it's like you're 3 months in, you've done 5 videos. What are we
Yeah.
what are we what are we talking about here? Are you familiar with Nate and Nick with Sage content?
Yep. Yeah. So I hired them in the beginning to help with short form video. And my reason for hiring them to start was I had never done any video before. Didn't
Hmm.
know how to work a camera. Again, I just hid behind a microphone for the last 8 years. And so while I was kind of getting my long form strategy stitched together, figuring out how to approach that, I hired them to produce short form video. And it was a great way for me to start to get comfortable on camera, kind of find my voice, just like figure out how all this works. So they were phenomenal to work with. Still love short form video. I just don't have time to do it all. And so right now I'm focused on just that long form video and the long form audio on the podcast.
Yeah, the reason why I bring them up is we did a joint webinar with them, and this goes to further prove the mindset that you have, where it's like, I'm going to do this for a year without the expectation of anything in return, and then reevaluate from there. So we did a joint webinar with them between their tool Sage and then our other company, Wealth Reach, and they had brought up a stat on their slide deck. I think it was from Broadridge, maybe. But anywho, basically the stat was uh, after a year of doing some form of paid marketing, that could be ads, that could be, what you're paying for your YouTube, things like that. There's like a 1.2x return on your investment, if
Mm.
that. And at that point, and usually a lot earlier, people give up. But then they did the math, and it was at the 5-year mark, there was like a 6.5x
Yeah.
return. And it just goes to show, like, if you're like, you don't start a YouTube channel to get clients, you start a YouTube channel to get your message out there, build authority, become and stay relevant. And then there's an inflection point where clients actually start coming from that.
Yep.
So that's just to take data and back up the mindset that you had getting into this in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, I do want to focus on those shorter term metrics to ensure those shorter term metrics are moving in the right direction to get me closer to that longer term goal. So if I know in 3 years from now, I need X number of subscribers or average number of views per video, however I want to assign like my longer term goal, keep it simple and say, in 3 years from now, I want this YouTube channel to start generating a consistent flow of clients. Okay, well, what do I need to do in those 3 years to ensure like I'm moving closer and closer towards that 3 year goal? So, like you had said earlier, if I publish 5 videos, one of those 5 should gain some serious traction. Like I'm monitoring that to say, if I just produced 5 high quality videos, I did everything right, and none of them, or I thought I did everything right, and none of them actually get traction, then I got to go back to the drawing board. So I am monitoring and measuring metrics in the short term, but I'm not thinking about, did this video get me a new client? Right.
Mm,
I'm setting that longer term goal to the side and focusing more on those near term metrics to ensure everything's moving in the right direction so that at that 2 year mark or 3 year mark, I know this is immediately going to convert to this predictable funnel of new clients.
understood.
Where I think
Um,
most advisors are like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Why am I not getting new clients? If you need new clients tomorrow, YouTube is not for you, right? Podcasting is not for you. Blogging is not
mhm.
for you. If you need new clients tomorrow, then you should take a page out of Northwestern's book or Edward Jones' book and start, knocking on doors.
Yep, exactly.
I mean,
No, this
there are other strategies that you can implement as well, but like,
but for sakes of the setting expectations
yeah,
on the other side of the spectrum,
yeah,
um,
takes time.
yeah, it takes time. It's cool, and I haven't watched these videos specifically because I just pulled up YouTube and I subscribed, so you have one more subscriber. Um,
Thanks.
but I want to take a look at them, but even as I hover over the images, like your lighting is on point. Like it's a show, not an aggregation of random content. It's something that would bring people back. Because also I think viewers reward people with their time when they know that person spent a lot of time
Sure.
to develop content that would be helpful to them. Like there's sort of like a certain level of guilt of like, let me keep watching these, whether that's
Yeah.
conscious or subconscious.
Sure. Sure.
So my point is, you can tell you spent a lot of time, effort, dollars in this. So uh, good work, man.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a fun journey. I think maybe one thing I'll add to this conversation, again, thinking about audio only podcast versus video. YouTube is completely a cold audience. This video could get 200,000 views. It could get 1,000,000 views, but these million people have no idea who I am. This is the first time they've come across me. And so it's very hard to convert one of those, cold viewers into a warm prospect or even a client. That's a very different funnel than the podcast, where I have somebody who's listened to my podcast, listened to every single episode for 5 years. They know where I live. They know my kids' names. They know that I love golf. They know that I love bourbon. Like they know all these things. And now they're about to retire. And guess who they're thinking of? They're thinking of me like it's a very, very warm audience.
Hmm.
Now, again, different funnel takes time to get that audience, to build that audience, to build that trust, takes time. But it's way easier to convert that audience than it is YouTube, who again is completely cold. So I have to think about that funnel much differently than the podcast world, which didn't really click until I really started getting to YouTube. So it's not like bad or good. One's not better than the other. You just have to think about those funnels very, very differently.
I love it. I love it. Um, and yeah, I was under the impression that you stopped the podcast to go to video. Um, so I'm glad to hear that you're doing both.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know how hard it is to grow a subscriber base on a podcast. Like
To just
I
to give
could
that.
I could never give. Yeah, I mean, I would never want to do that. So that's the hard part. I did the hard part. So no, the podcast is my bread and butter. This is like the next phase of our marketing. And it is a giant lift. So I'd mentioned earlier, um, one of the other guys in my office that started a YouTube channel as well to sort of kind of complement our efforts and help out a little bit there, because I can't be the only one doing business development here forever, and he's somebody who has an interest in it. So um, yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. Again, a lot of learning lessons along the way, but I'm really enjoying it.
Love it. Sweet man. Well, before we start wrapping up, one of the questions I ask folks is a book that's had an impact on them. And you were indecisive. You provided both a fiction and nonfiction book, and I want to know kind of why you picked them and the impact that it's had on you. So, the fiction one is Dark Matter,
Mm.
and then the nonfiction, which is funny that you mentioned. Your love for golf because it's golf architecture for normal people. Why'd you pick those books? What's the impact that has had?
I guess the impact. Let's see. So, my brain is working so hard during the day. I come home to 3 crazy kids. Like I'm absolutely exhausted in the evening at nighttime, but I love to read. I just don't have the energy to read like a dense nonfiction book. And so in the last 18 months, I've started to burn through these really fun fiction, sci-fi, thriller type books. There's like, it just gets my mind off of, my day to day. It's just a nice way to end the day. So Dark Matter is, if you have not read it, is a phenomenal sci-fi book. Even if you aren't into sci-fi at all, my wife is not into sci-fi and she read the book and she loved it. It's also now an Apple TV show, which I would not recommend. The book is, as always, much, much.
I was gonna say you're one of
Uh,
those, which is
yeah,
usually,
but just
very
like just
correct.
such an incredibly fun book. Like it's one of those, like, I wish I hadn't have read it because I want to read it again. So that's how that book has served me. And then, I like to. I find it really fascinating. On the surface, you look at different things in life, just like really simple things. Like, I mean, I'll use golf because that's what we're talking about here. Like, you just think like, oh, you just like go out and like hit a golf club, like, hit this ball around a grass field for a few hours, and it's a really annoying game, and it's really hard and frustrating. But when you really like dive into anything, whether it's like photography or, rugby, or like pick anything, there's these really like unique aspects of it that you don't realize on the surface. And when it comes to golf, it I didn't realize for a long time, like, the architecture of golf and, like, what goes into actually building a golf course. These, like, works of art being built, and this has been happening for hundreds of years, and so I just got really fascinated with the architecture of golf, and it's made me improve my experience golfing. I know it sounds, like, really insane right now, but, like, now when I go play golf and have after reading that book, I have an understanding of how these golf courses are put together, why they're put together like this, why the green is shaped like this, why there's a sand trap over here and not over here. Like, I just find it really fascinating. It's just like really fun to go down that rabbit hole and have a new and different appreciation for a sport that I've been in love with since I was 12 years old. So I just love those like rabbit holes you can go down, again with really anything,
I love
snake
that.
plants even.
Do you do you do you still appreciate the architecture when you end up in the sand trap?
I'm one of those I'm one of those people that does not get upset playing golf. It is like meditation for me. I just
Mhm.
love being out on a golf course. I don't care where I'm at, who I'm with, what's happening with my game. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just like truly have this passion and love for the game. So, I do appreciate the architecture.
I love it. Yeah, I'm similar with golf as it relates to, um it's better than what the alternative is, which is not playing golf. So, like, when I see people break or throw clubs, I'm like, you are out. You're never gonna be pro at this stage. So, like, don't get frustrated that you shanked the ball. Like, now you have to buy a new club. Stop
Yeah.
that.
I'll tell a quick story before we wrap up. So on that note, when I was at Morgan Stanley, we'd have these wholesalers that would take us out to play golf, right? Like, go out, take you golfing, buy you drinks or whatnot. I was with this wholesaler one day playing golf, and I, shanked my ball, and I'm getting all frustrated. And he looks at me and he goes, "Dude, you're not that good." And like the way he said it, like, it just registered with me, like, "You're right." Like, I'm not, like, if we were that good and had that high of expectations, like, we would be on television playing on the PGA Tour, like, I'm not that good, like, stop taking this so seriously. So it's just funny, like, that one holster that one day, it just, like, really stuck with me and really changed my mindset, about golf, and now it's just, like, hard not to just enjoy being out there.
Well, sweet. I appreciate you joining today, man. For everyone tuning in, as always, I appreciate your time and attention. But Taylor, it's been a pleasure. And if I am an advisor, I want to follow along with your journey. Maybe want to join your community. Like, where should I go? Where are the places you want to send me?
Yeah, connect on LinkedIn is probably the best place at this point. You can go to advisorgc.com to learn more about the AGC community. We are now a part of Wealth Tender as well, so a lot of extra benefits there with Wealth Tender. Yeah, just a phenomenal community of like-minded advisors focused on growth and collaborating together. So, excited to connect with everybody and continue on this journey.
Sweet. Well, actually, speaking of wealth tender, we're recording this on a Tuesday, and this Friday, I'm catching up with your boy Brian Thorpe. So
Oh, sweet.
I got both of you guys in 1 week.
Brian's extremely sneaky good marketer, so be sure to ask him some good questions.
Well, you know what? Well, actually, not for the podcast, just a catch up
Oh,
call. Um, but with his sneaky marketing, so to speak, uh, part of that, and I try to abide by the same thing. He is so responsive. He is
Insane, right?
quick,
Yeah.
quick. And that in and of itself just separates him from most people. So, but anywho, I'll talk him up in person, on Friday. But Taylor, appreciate you. Everyone tuning in, appreciate you as well. And we will catch you on the next episode. Taylor,
Thanks
take
so
care.
much, David. Appreciate it.